Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Let's discuss the next topic, that is sample handling techniques in IR spectroscopy. In the last video we had a discussion on the instrumentation procedures. During the instrumentation procedures we have seen that we have used sample cells. Sample cells play very important role in the determination of the IR spectra. That's why we have a separate lecture for the sample analysis. Already we know that the sample cells are generally made up of what? Alkali metal halides or not. Why alkali metal halides are used in the preparation of the sample cells? The condition is that what? The sample cell must be transparent and inert to the IR radiation. It should not react with the IR radiation, or it should be very transparent to the IR radiation. Because of that reason, what we are using? Sodium chloride, potassium bromide, such type of metal halides which we are using. But the thing is that final choice of the salt will be depending upon the wavelength range to be studied. In most of the cases we are using sodium chloride or the potassium bromide, but depending upon the whatever the frequency of the radiation we need during the analysis of a particular compound, we may use different kinds of the material for the preparation of the sample cells, right? See this one, silver chloride sometimes used for the preparation of the sample cells in case of the what? Aqueous or moisture samples. Why? Because whenever we use the aqueous or the moisture samples, what happens? These material will be dissolved or not. Thereby complete situation will be wrong. Because of that reason we are using what? Some another metal halides. Next one, sometimes we can use the Teflon material also. Whenever we use the Teflon material, we will observe two peaks in the spectra due to the carbon-carbon stretching frequencies and the carbon-fluorine stretching frequencies. Polyethylene can also be used whenever you want the radiation of the frequency less than 600 centimeter inverse, right? While determining the spectra of a particular organic compound, we should take some of the precautions also. What are the precautions which we need to take? The cell's windows are easily exposed to the moisture. Why? Because whatever the material which we are using in the preparation of the cell, those materials are hygroscopic in nature. They can easily absorb the moisture. So we need to protect those material from the moisture. So cell's windows are easily exposed to the moisture. Frequent polishing with buffer powder is required. Whenever we will do the frequently polishing by using the buffer powder, what happens? Whatever the moisture content absorbed by the sample, that can be removed easily. Okay. The last one is the what? The scientist Miller developed appropriate methods to handle the samples in gas, liquid, and solid phase. So in 1965, what happened? The person Miller introduced some techniques related to the solids, liquids and the gaseous samples. Let us see one by one. First one is what? Sampling in solids. In case of the solids, we are having 1, 2, 3 and 4. 4 methods are available for the analysis of the solid compounds. Right? How can we prepare the sample for the analysis? Let's see. First one is what? Solid run in solutions. In this case, what should we do? Initially, we need to take our unknown organic compound. The unknown organic compound is dissolved in non-aqueous and inert solvent. Thereby, we will prepare a solution or not. The drop of the solution is placed on the alkali metal halide disc. Okay, whatever the solution you prepared here, drop of the solution is going to be placed on the alkali metal halide disc. After the placing the solution on the metal halide disc, what happens? Whatever the solvent we have used in the particular procedure, the solvent should be evaporated. So solvent is going to be evaporated. After the evaporation of this solvent from the alkali metal halide disc, what happens? That is going to leave a thin film. The thin film is subjected to the interaction with the IR radiation. This is the first case. In the second case, what we are using? Solid films. The solid films are specially for the polymer resins and the amorphous solids. Remember that This is only for the polymer resins and the amorphous solids. Here what should we do? We need to dissolve the unknown sample in the volatile solvent. Here we have used what? Non-aqueous and inert solvent we have used. In this case what we are using? Volatile sample. The volatile sample is going to be placed on the potassium bromide plate or the disc. Thereby what happens? We will come up with the material on the surface area of the potassium bromide, right? Later we need to evaporate the solvent. So whatever the samples, whatever the sample we have taken, that is going to be absorbed on the surface area of the potassium bromide, then that particular pellet is going to be placed in the sample cell. That can be interacted with the IR radiation, is going to give the signal. Next one is what? Mull technique. In the mull technique what we are doing, initially we are preparing our sample in the form of a powder. The powder is going to be merged with what? Mulling agent, commonly called as Nuzal. It is a hydrocarbon. The hydrocarbon is mixed with the organic compound. Thereby we are going to prepare a paste. The paste is going to be placed on the mull plates which are available and squeezed together to adjust the thickness of the sample. So we need to maintain the thickness. That's why we are going to squeeze that one. Based on that we are going to get the material. That material is going to be interact with the IR radiation. Let's come to the last one, pressed pellet technique. Nowadays in most of the cases we are using this technique only. In this technique also initially we are preparing the sample in the form of the powder. That one is going to mix it with potassium bromide. It is the solid one. The ratio of the unknown sample and potassium bromide must be 1:100 ratio. With that ratio we have prepared a mixer. Both are the solid compounds. That is subjected to the ball mill by applying a pressure of 5000 to 10,000 psi. Thereby we are going to get small pellets of this kind of dimensions. Then the small pellet is going to be placed in the sample cell for the interaction with the IR radiation. Now come to the next one, sampling in liquids. In liquids what we are doing, the liquid sample can be sandwiched between two alkali halide plates. It means that what we are going to take two potassium bromide pellets. In between the two potassium bromide pellets we need to sandwich your liquid compound, and thereby we can get a final pellet. The final pellet is subjected to the analysis. The last type is what? Sampling in gases. In case of the sampling in gases we need to concentration on the design of the sample cell. See this one, the sample cell is going to be designed in such a way, that is what? Gas sample tube. This sample is also made up of what? Sodium chloride or potassium bromide. So this is the complete information about sample handling techniques in infrared spectroscopy.